Welcome to this Connect M3 Thought Byte podcast recorded on the 14th of February 2025. I'm David Charles and my Thought Byte today is titled, We Need More Like Him. If a young man just 6 years old can see the problem, then who else can? It's a strange thing that some things in life are glaringly obvious to thinking people, including ones as young as 6, but not, it seems, to our politicians. Is it about time we all took a critical look at these political ones? The thing is, some of these glaringly obvious things are very basic indeed, and some, dare I suggest, are potentially dangerous and even life-threatening. But to date, we have left it to these 650 representatives of ours to do the right thing on our behalf. If we were to mark these politicians on a performance scale of 1 to 10, how would you score them? I could guess, of course, but since the media has taken to scoring the popularity of the current UK PM, Keir Starmer, with a negative rating, my own personal score on the 650 band of cases would have to follow suit. It would be a number well below 0. You'd guess I don't believe in them. But let's talk first about our young 6-year-old lad, whose name is Teddy, from Netley in Hampshire, located on the banks of Southampton Water. The BBC carried a terrific story about Teddy and his dream to save the planet. It's about large plastic sweet tubs, larger than the size of a Victoria sponge cake tin, filled with wrapped goodies by well-known confectioners. They are piled high in all supermarkets in the months before Christmas, and you will have seen them from September onwards. Millions must have been sold annually. But Teddy, being an astute lad as he is, discovered that the recycling contractor in his county does not recycle these plastic tubs when discarded at the roadside. It means they go to landfill, millions of them. The dream Teddy had was to save the planet, starting with letting his school teacher know about the problem. And it was from there that the story of the plastic sweet tubs took off. In short, people got to hear about Teddy and his wish to save these tubs from landfill, and they started collecting them. Teddy's campaign started last year, and he collected 500 tubs. That effort was smashed this year, with over 2,500 tubs being collected. Do please read Teddy's story. It's a magnificent lesson for all of us, and in so many ways. As I have strongly hinted at above, it's also a stunning lesson for our servant MPs in Parliament, who some believe really aren't worth a tub of sweets for their efforts. On a similar theme, just 2 weeks ago, I dropped off some plastic tubs of a different kind to a men's shed in town. Recognising that these white, sturdy plastic tubs with a nice blue screw lid are just perfect in any workshop for storing nuts, bolts and screws, etc. 25 tubs were passed on and gratefully received by the men, who knew all too well their usefulness. My own workshop is already full of them. These tubs, and many more trillions like them, would probably have gone to landfill also, like Teddy's confectionery tubs, but for their redirection for reuse. It's true to say that I am basically a collector of things in life, and these white tubs are just one of those things. Yeast extract jars, of the love it or hate it variety, have been another. They make perfect spice and herb jars for racks in kitchens. IKEA sell exact copies, but in clear glass, not brown. So, the question for us all, albeit wasted on our politicians of course, is this. Why, as a semi-intelligent society, don't we make things with the following themes front and centre in our thinking? 1. Products made with their recycling plan already in place. 2. Determined recycling strategies for everything before it's made. 3. Designing products to be reused, repurposed rather than recycled. 4. Open channels for reuse for all redirected products. 5. Reduce range of containers produced to gain economies of scale. 6. Improvement in container design for the products they contain. And 7. Food shops go the refillable route to reduce single-item packaging. Let's take a look at a few real-life examples from the above list. Number 1 again. The Airbus A380 giant airliner. Local to Tetbury is Kemble Airport, a once base for the famous Red Arrows. It's now a base for an airliner recycling performed by specialist contractor Air Salvage International. Before the first A380 took to the air, one of the company's directors asked the makers, Airbus, what their plans were for recycling, given the A380 is built with a multitude of plastics and composite materials like no other airliner before it. The answer? There is no plan. In other words, it wasn't Airbus's problem. 2. The second thing in a designer's mind, placed there by a sense of individual and collective responsibility, backed by obligation, should be the question: what could be the second life for this product? 3. With a view to protecting the Earth's resources, should it not be the most natural thing for industrialists to look at, collectively ideally, how products can be reused and repurposed after their first life? 4. Recycling centres have begun to open shops on site so people can rummage over the items discarded by others, for the purpose of repurposing items that would otherwise be lost to landfill. There's such a shop in Barry, South Wales. Shouldn't these shops be mandatory? I've been able to retrieve pristine, reusable items from waste skips, including a fridge for a workplace, giving another 9 years of useful life. 5. The multitude of different shaped containers is mad, in my view. It would make enormous sense if the range was greatly reduced. Perhaps manufacturers could be driven to use an already designed and made container rather than originating something unique. There could be bragging rights attached to the brand's eco decision making. And 6. Container design in so many ways is bonkers. Take, for example, jars of whatever, where it's impossible to extract with a spoon the last remaining blobs of jam. Is this a ploy to bring forward in time one's purchase of a replacement jar? There's profit to be made out of what you leave in jars. Someone said once about mustard, I think it was. And finally, 7. Another mention for Tetbury here. In the town, a new shop has opened selling a range of foodstuffs. The foodstuffs are in self-service dispensers and people take in their own containers to refill. How utterly sensible. At home, we reuse cardboard egg boxes, since this makes total sense. The local butchers also sell eggs, but are not interested in reusable egg boxes. They say it's unhygienic. Really? An organic food distributor delivers their products in cardboard boxes. These are collected next time when empty and get reused. How great that is. Refillable shops, like this one in Tetbury, where you can refill whatever you have, hygienic or not, and are not limited to Tetbury. I know of food shops which also sell soaps and detergents in the same way, and they are popping up all over. For example, in nearby Nailsworth, Bristol and Totnes, for starters. What if the major supermarkets did this? I mean, how difficult can it be? The saving of waste wrappers and containers would be enormous. Utterly enormous. None of the above is rocket science and only takes a decision to adopt and enact. But that decision hasn't been made, and the politicians show no sign or interest in making it anytime soon. So do we need a group of critical thinking people, just like young Teddy, who clearly have the right vision and sense of purpose to help bring about a better way forward? Speaking of which, there is a point of note to make clear. We as citizens are really the guilty ones in all this. We, the 65 million of us, have left all this tedious business of recycling and waste management to a bunch of just 650 unqualified individuals in Westminster, with more on their plates than any of them can possibly handle. Does our society need to wake up and take charge of matters such as these? I mean, I'm talking about tapping into a major natural and available resource here. I'm talking about applying the imagination, ingenuity, and nous of the entire UK population. That computes to a brain power 100,000 times greater than those sitting 650 SMPs in Parliament. For me, there is no contest, and the sooner the people get motivated and engaged, the sooner we can all draw on the benefit. It would mean the 650, should we decide to retain them as paid contractors, could just get on doing the contracting bit, guided by the mandate the people pass down to them to get on with. I can't think what the people might trust them with right now, but other than keeping score perhaps on how well everything is going along without them. Before completing on this particular thought bite, I'd like to pick up on one word mentioned in the BBC article about our self-proclaimed eco-warrior. Teddy said the confectionery tubs either go to landfill or the ocean. Teddy is not only very astute, he is very aware. So much of the planet's waste ends up in the ocean, and film footage of it floating around in great plastic islands or covering once sandy beaches is as stunning as it is heartbreaking. The thing is, it is our governments that are allowing this to happen. Our own government, for example, allows our plastic waste and waste cardboard to be shipped around the world, and there it becomes someone else's responsibility to deal with. Once it's offshore, who knows quite what happens to it? Is it processed, and in a good way? Or is it dumped in the oceans? Or perhaps even just some of it? Who would know? Then there's one other horror involving waste in the ocean, and one I only recently came to realize existed. We change road tires on our cars and vehicles. But why? Answer: the plastic rubber has worn off on the road surfaces. It's then washed off the road surfaces and goes where? Drains. Then local streams, rivers, estuaries, and then oceans. I'll stop here on this one and let you think about the possible long-term implications of this. For now, is it time we all took a greater interest in the subject of waste? Apart from becoming educated in the subject and then steering policy towards a far more intelligent approach, it might teach everybody a bit more about something else. That being just what a powerful resource we all have in our population of 65 million critical thinkers, compared with the 650 cases we have in Parliament currently, telling us all what they think they know and what they think they do is best. This is clearly a subject, an important subject we should all be thinking about. It will be one to return to another day, of that I'm sure. But for the moment at least, the above has been my critical thinking, which I felt moved to share thanks to critical thinker Teddy. I do wonder though, what are your thoughts, and what positive ideas on this subject would you offer as a critical thinker, if given the chance? One final word though, in a PS. A major waste management company, again based near Tetbury, is moving forward with some novel approaches. That is, approaches to benefit themselves as a corporate entity. quite reasonably, but also to benefit, interestingly, the local community and planet. Their waste handling will in future be connected with energy generation and food growing. They're called Crappers, and the story about them is encouraging. Nick Ash, a company director, explains more about their projects in a video. Thank you for listening to this Thought Byte today. I hope it's given you further things to think about on this important subject. For more information on this and related subjects, do check out the PDF version of this, the article being TB-5075B. It contains a number of links to supporting articles, plus links to many other enlightening and fascinating articles on a variety of topics. Meanwhile, I look forward to sharing my next Thought Byte with you very soon. Goodbye.